The script you can see on the screen shows the word Baybayin written in the Tagalog Baybayin, a pre-colonial Philippine writing script used until the 18th century. Good morning. My co-authors and I will be presenting our study on the Philippine ancient script, its historical position during the Spanish colonization and its revival attempts. Tagalog is a language of the Austronesian family native to the Philippines. It is largely spoken by the ethnic Tagalogs in central and southern Luzon. Prior to the arrival of the Spaniards, Tagalog was used to be written in Baybayin, which has 17 characters, 14 consonants and 3 vowels that can also be written in kudlits or diacritics to create a syllable. Baybayin is an abugida or alpha syllabary in which consonant-vowel sequences are written as a unit. Father Chirino also characterized Baybayin as the letters proper to the island of Manila. It is not certain, however, how and where Baybayin originated in the Philippines, as Juan Francisco collated at least 5 theories of its origin, mostly referencing the maritime trading history of the Philippines with its neighbors and other parts of the country, to establish a common trading language and stronger relations. Baybayin was used for personal communication rather than writing literatures and recording history, and were predominantly oral than written. In addition, the pre-colonial script writings were mostly written on finite materials such as bamboo and palm leaves, usually used as receipts from day-to-day businesses. Famous archaeological evidences include the Laguna copperplate inscription, the Calatagan pot from Batangas, and the Angono petroglyphs carved in a wall in Angono, Rizal. Despite the lack of physical evidences and records to ascertain the evolution of the script, its contribution to the ancient Philippine society is indisputable. Further developments over the course of history altered the utility and relevance of the script, especially during the Spanish colonization.
Mr. Deita is right. The arrival of the Spaniards in the Philippines affected the usage of the pre-colonial Baybayin script. But what brought about their conquest in the Philippines in the first place? First off, Spain was motivated by its desire for political domination, especially since they are competing with neighboring Portugal. Spain could not allow Portugal to overcome it in the political sphere, as it may endanger Spain's influence and power over Europe. In addition, Spain's motives to explore and colonize the Philippines came with the lucrative spice trade in Asia. Even though Spain failed to procure the Maluku Islands, which is said to be at the center of the spice trade at the time, it still benefited from colonizing the Philippine Islands, which is Spain's only colonial endeavor in the region. Even though Spain are suffering losses from sustaining a distant colony like the Philippines, Spain's perception of a divine duty to share the gospel of Christianity to the uncivilized natives of the archipelago was also a driving factor to further pursue colonizing the islands. As a matter of fact, the utility of religion was crucial for Spain's relatively facile conquest of the islands. They were able to strategically utilize religion to subjugate the natives into submission to full Spanish authority. Spain's success in this enterprise is marked by the Philippines' status as one of only two predominantly Christian nations in a religiously diverse Asia in the present. Spain was able to last its 333-year colonial pursuit in the Philippines until 1898. The focal point of this study is to provide the background on what occurred to the Baybayin script during Spain's colonization in the archipelago and how we can relate this to the current attempts to reinstitutionalize Baybayin in contemporary Philippines.
The research entitled The Tagalog Chronicles, a study on the entanglement of the Baybayin's historical precedence and its revival, written by Tyrone Kit P. Agres, Diane Marie Concepcion, and Christopher Van A. Deita, is a study on the connection of the Tagalog Baybayin between its historical positioning and its revival. The study aims to address two key questions. First, how is the position of the Tagalog Baybayin script during the Spanish colonial era linked to the contemporary clamors of certain sectors to reinstitutionalize the script. Second, what does the script and its historical position possess that compelled modern sectors in Philippine society to revive its use? As the Spaniards arrived in the islands, numerous scholars like Father Alonso Sanchez and Father Pedro Chirino recorded that there was an already literate indigenous society, both oral and written. But such writings were never fully preserved because they were written in organic materials like bamboo. The Spaniards capitalized on this literate society to subjugate the natives through submitting them in the Christian doctrine. Initial missionaries were tasked to speak and write the language of the natives. Thus, initial religious publications spread to the natives also had annotated translations written in either Romanized Tagalog or in the Baybayin script themselves. During the translation of Christian doctrines, the missionaries perceived the ancient script to lack clarity, illegibility, simplicity, and most importantly, practicality. Hence, the process of transliteration commenced, even if the natives' response are against it. Transliteration is defined as a transitioning of literacy standards from one's knowledge about the Baybayin towards the Latin alphabet. Eventually, the Baybayin script were less used due to many factors. First, printing press favored the usage of the Latin alphabet because of pragmatic reasons. Second, the natives actively utilized the new Latin alphabet script as, as it was seen to be the only way to understand and interact with the existing social, political, and cultural conditions set by the colonizers, which in turn helps them with their aim to social advancement and mobility. The Baybayin script went into mainstream disuse by the late 18th century. That is not to say, however, that the Baybayin was a script that died or went extinct because of the advent of the Spanish colonization. Pieces of evidence still account for the continuation of the Baybayin's usage, such as in official and legal transactions, signatures, notations, and inscriptions. However, these instances were confined in very limited areas, regions, and utilization.
Upon gaining independence from the Spaniards, several attempts in various sectors were made to revive the Baybayin script. The government, through the Senate Bill number 1899 and House Bill number 1022, advocates for the institutionalization of the Baybayin script in all official logos of government agencies, departments, and offices, including the new generation currency banknotes, and attempts to declare the Baybayin script as the country's national writing system. These, however, are still proposed bills and have not undergone further due to pressures and contentions from other sectors. In the education sector, the Department of Education and Commission on Higher Education have incorporated the introduction of the script for appreciation, particularly in the mother tongue and Araling Panlipunan curricula in the basic education. Baybayin has also been part of the graduation garbs of several universities in the Philippines, such as the Sablay of the University of the Philippines, Lambal of Tarlac State University, and Salay of the University of Southern Mindanao. Even in literatures, authors such as Jeremiah Cordial and Angie Resurrection have incorporated the script in their novel and children's book. Finally, in the art sector, visual artists such as Christian Caboy and Taipan Lucero chose the Baybayin as their subject matter that represents their coming back to their Filipino roots and the way to rediscover what it is to be Filipino. With the demand of the script in digital platforms, Xavier Negre developed an online Baybayin translator, while Paul Morrow and Hector Santos created an open-source Philippine Baybayin font.
Now, for the analysis, we can trace these current revival attempts from the 19th century when a markedly Filipino nationalism resisted against the Spaniards. The usage of Baybayin scripts in the Katipunan faction's flags, as seen in your screens, for example, is seen as a symbol of Filipino unity, nationalism, and a manifestation of the Filipinos' resistance and detachment from imperialism, and a reclaiming of their indigenous identity. This common link of a Filipino nationalism is also mirrored through the current attempts to recontextualize Baybayin in the modern era as seen earlier. Furthermore, the use of the Baybayin script as a symbol of Filipino resistance is seen as a recontextualization of the discourse of Baybayin that transcended until the present. We can define recontextualization, according to Basil Bernstein, as a process of appropriating established knowledge to create a new cultural discourse. Two fields are said to facilitate and interact with this creation of a new discourse. First, the official recontextualization field, or the ORF, which consists of the state and its agencies, and second, the pedagogic recontextualization field, or the PRF, which consists of the academia and educational institutions. In the present, both the ORF and the PRF are creating efforts, per the revival attempts discussed earlier, to recontextualize the Baybayin script in a new cultural discourse. Not only did the indigenization and recontextualization process commence during the Katipunan movement, but the new cultural discourse and recontextualization process of the Baybayin script continues up until the present. The next segment shall further elaborate on the link of the past with the present. Now, for the conclusion of the study, we can now answer the fundamental question of the study raised earlier. How is the position of the Tagalog Baybayin script during the Spanish colonial era linked to the contemporary movement to revive its usage? First, while the Baybayin script went into mainstream disuse by the 18th century, it is for certain that the script did not die or went extinct during the Spanish colonial era, contrary to popular belief. There was only a decline through which later movements capitalized on to root out the common heritage of all Filipinos as a manifestation of the rising nationalism movement. Second, we conclude that the process of indigenization and recontextualization in the present is linked with the Spanish colonial era. Both time periods aim to seek the common grounds through which Filipinos can unite and affirm their shared heritage, which is through the Baybayin scripts. That is why the movements to recontextualize Baybayin in the present is performed in the name of nationalism, patriotism, and a renewed sense of what is a Filipino and what it means to be a Filipino, despite their colonial past and present. And lastly, through the recontextualization of the Baybayin in the contemporary era, this helps Filipinos seek an avenue to deeply understand their complex Filipino identity. Filipinos associate the Baybayin script as a heritage that has spiritual relevance to their roots and origins. Recontextualizing Baybayin today helps Filipinos to detach themselves from their colonial baggage and affirm their identity through this shared heritage. This ends our presentation. I'm Tyrone Kit B. Agres.
I am Diane Marie Concepcion.
And I am Christopher Van A. Deita. Thank you for listening.